Hey folks, what's going on here? Let's do the trade review for today. I had a few trades on Facebook options this morning, and generally the morning was interesting, although very crazy price action. Same thing as yesterday, extremely crazy. And we're going to go over that and talk about some things regarding the market. And yeah, so there was some really insane moves that happened today, and unfortunately, I didn't take part in any of them, except for the morning. The morning was an interesting trade, so let's go over that real quick here. So if we go to the bottom here, I'll move myself over to the right side. So I traded three different options. I traded the 170 calls, I traded the 150 puts, and I also traded the 167.50 calls later in the day. I'm net loss on the day by about 5% on my account, so I'm red today. And we'll talk about why. So my first trade here, Facebook 170 calls, I got in at 10:11 a.m. after the market got halted. So the market was halted first thing on a level 1 circuit breaker halt. We moved down after the halt, huge dump, and then a huge dip buy, which happened right after. Now I tried to take part in this, but I couldn't get the fill. Anyways, after that we consolidated, and we'll look at what those options did here. Let's look at what the 170 calls did. Now they got destroyed, obviously, into the close. That's why I'm a day trader, guys. I do not hold positions overnight. So these calls were at 12 cents, and they popped all the way to over $1 within this whole move here that happened. All right, so I got in at 10:11, which was around here, around this consolidation. So basically we had an initial pullback, and the order flow was suggesting bullish momentum after that. So I decided to get in here around 10:11 with some calls, risking below 159, I think, or below 159.50 approximately. Okay, so that was my risk in the trade. I got into these calls. They were pretty beat up still. They were pretty cheap. So I got into them, and I was instantly green after we saw these kinds of this 1 minute trend change here, as you can see. All right, so I didn't actually take off any of the position in this move, and that was a mistake, of course, because I was expecting it to go a lot higher. Now, why was I expecting it to go higher? Well, I don't know. Probably I should have been just going with what the market was giving me. So at this point, you can see that we were chopping around this range right here. Now, I like it a lot better on TradingView. So I'll bring up my TradingView chart just to show you. Basically, I was looking at this range right here. You see this? Where we came up for the higher high and then consolidated. And the low of this range was approximately here. Okay, I was watching this level. And when we consolidated and broke below it, I was watching very closely to how the price was reacting around this level, because this was going to be the make it or break it point for my trade. If we were not going to hold a higher low here, I was most probably going to cut the trade at this point. Okay, so as you can see here, we moved lower, failed, couldn't close below that level. Tried again and closed a bit higher. One huge failure there, but still managed to hold 162. So it was all about 162 really at this point. And then at that point, it was like chop, 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 and we held it, and the market held up and we moved higher. Now this is really where it gets interesting. So during this entire move up, it was like a full-on bull euphoria move, and I didn't take profit on any of this move. Why didn't I take profit? I should have taken off half the position when it was on this bull run here, or on the first sign of a failure. I had to take off some of it. Okay, and I knew that the most likely scenario wasn't going to be straight all bulls, because we are seeing every time we see a bull run, it gets sold into right away. The sellers always answer very aggressively. That's been the market cycle for the last few days. Every time we see a huge rally, it gets sold into and pushed down very aggressively. If you look at the SPY price action from yesterday, it was exactly that every time. Sellers just smashing those rallies. So look at this on the 1 minute time frame, and then you can see how aggressively it got smashed down from 164 right there. And then we had so that was the first pullback, right? So generally the first pullback is bullish, but you can see how that's how it got answered. And we initially saw a 1 minute low, lower high, and lower low. So that was a huge red flag right there. That was the red flag that I had to get out. And I got out a little too late of this trade, to be honest. So if you look at when I got out right here, and I barely took any profit. You see, I bought, my average price was 64, and I got it at 69. These things went to $1.20, man. How did I not manage to take any profit on this trade? So I was up 100% on the trade, but I didn't take any profit. So yeah, you can see here that we're trading around 107, 128, 122 was the high approximately. They wouldn't go higher than 122. So I was up 100%, give or take. Didn't take profit. My bad, baby. And after that, well, I paid for it. I got out at 11:03. And if we look at the chart, 11:03 was where So that was 1058. I got out here, 1103. It really just aggressively sold off. Look at how aggressively the bears just took control of that. This huge rally and then straight into a fake out into a lower low. That's what it's all about, guys. Really crazy price action. Okay, so after that, I had more trades on Facebook, and we'll go over them real quick here. So after I was bearish, I traded the 150 puts at 1107. So look at this right here, where we came, tried to see a sort of a dip buy setup, and then it failed right away pretty aggressively. So you can see here, as soon as it got some relief, right into a failure, and then into a bear move right after that. So that's it. So at this point right here, I got into some puts at 1107. Right here on this red candle, red bear trend bar, got into the puts right there, and then I took them off. Actually, I got faked out of those puts, and I'll show you where. I sold one for a partial profit at 1113 right here, and then after that, this green candle faked me out of the other half of the position. It's a tricky one, man, because sometimes when you see this stuff, you don't know if it's gonna just go in, but it was getting back close to my break even. So that's why I was getting messed up with that, you see? So I bought those puts at 58, and then I sold it here for 64 on this pop. But in reality, I should have held on to those things because they just kept moving up slowly. There was a few of those pops around 1130. Let's see what happened at 1130. Nothing. Sideways price action, and the puts were consistently moving higher. 1130, nothing. There was a little pop here at 1130 that brought us up to just about 161. The puts were still above my break-even point at that point. So if you shorted where I shorted, that breakdown right here, if you shorted there, these puts didn't get back to my break-even point all day until way later. So there was a lot of money to be made there, and I didn't stick with it. So I know for next time, especially with these types of trades, if you're following that sell momentum, stay in the trade or stay in at least half of the position as long as it stays above your break-even point. Okay? Bit of a tricky one. So after that, as Facebook was coming into this sort of range down here, and you can see how we were chopping. So I was watching the 5-minute time frame as Facebook was dumping, and I was saying, based on the market's price action, the most likely scenario was probably some sort of relief in this general area and some sort of 5-minute higher low eventually going to form, and then we'd eventually try to move up and form a lower high. That's generally what I was thinking of as the most likely scenario. But as you can see, what we got was all chop until something drastic happened with some news around 1 o'clock. So I was trading these calls around this time, this whole period here with these weird choppy price moves. I was trading through all of this and getting shaken out most of the time. So we'll go over that. 1118, I got long the 170 calls. So 1118.09, I got long Facebook calls. We moved down initially as soon as I got long the calls, we moved down and then had some relief and then sideways price action holding 160. This 160 level was holding for so long. Okay, after that, at 1134, as you can see that I sold on the break of 160, straight into a pop, and then it got into more selling right after that. So I dumped the rest of that position after that. 1136, I was out of the whole position that I tried. So I tried to buy the dip here, and then I got shooken out as it broke 160. All right, I tried again at 1141, right here, on this sort of setup. I bought it at 1141 and I got shaken out at 1151 right there. Look at that. So pop straight into a failure, I get stopped out, and then the thing skyrockets without me. Okay, so are we learning something from watching this video, traders? It's very important to note some of these things here. So we're seeing a lot of these moves down, try to move higher and fail, and then get a real pop after. So you don't know when this pop is going to happen, and unfortunately that's just part of the game here. Lucky I was keeping my risk relatively low. Okay, so at 1207 right here, I tried to buy the dip again, and what happened? We just got shaken out right there. So again, first green candle after a huge thing, you get this and you get shaken out right away, shaken out. And I believe at 1217 I did manage to take a partial profit, 1229 and 38. I got out of that position for pretty much a small profit or a break even. So I entered here, and the calls were approximately priced the same throughout almost all of this move, which really freaked me out again. And as you can see, volatility did drop off there. So we'll go over that trade one other time here. It was the 167.50 calls, and look at how they moved. Look at how these calls were moving during this time frame. So from 1206, I bought in around here, 1206. The calls moved a little bit, and during this move, they went up. They should have been around $1, and I think they were around $1 actually at one point, but I didn't take them off at $1. But they were so briefly at $1 that I couldn't take them off, and I was expecting this to move higher with that momentum. But as we know, these rallies just keep getting sold into, so these long trades are not working very well. Okay. All right, and then the last time, here we go at 1238. I tried another time to buy the dip. 1238 right here. Look at this. So after this, so we had a high, higher low, and higher high. I was expecting us to come down and form at least a higher low because of how much this volume was showing. As you see here, this candle has 350,000. This candle has 370,000. So there was some big fat finger buyers coming in down here doing something. We don't know, but so I was assuming that we were going to potentially try and move higher here, but I was wrong, of course. And I stopped out the trade there, around there. So you can see I bought again at 1238. I got into these calls at 82, and I sold them at 1241 once we started breaking down this for good. With that sell momentum, brought us down to approximately the low of the day, 158 again. Now at this point, I was done for the day. Okay, I said, you know what? I had about 3 losers. I'm done, no more. And I was tired too. You know, it's kind of tiring to be looking at screens for the majority part of the morning. So I got out and I was done. But unfortunately, this is the point where I should have been buying the dip in hindsight. Because after that, you can see we rolled here. And then once we changed the 1 minute trend, once this made a 1 minute higher high, look at what happened. Gosh, the market caught some good news and we rallied. Facebook rallied from 158 all the way to 166, for crying out loud. So these calls that I was in for like 70 cents went to approximately 250. The high was 280 on those contracts. Gosh, darn it. So I was seeing this afterwards, and you know, it's hard not to feel some form of FOMO when you see this happen. And you're obviously, I'm out of the trade when it happens, and it's crazy that I was literally in that trade a few minutes ago and now it's worth 4 times its value. Like, okay, sure, you know, like, all right, I definitely need to improve my game here. So there's something going on that, yeah. So you know what, I think it's important to not feel bad if you didn't catch that move, because look, these markets are just borderline crazy. So if you're not catching the moves, don't be so hard on yourself. These are hard markets to trade. And I think personally that we can learn from these experiences and just move on. That's it. We just need to be able to move forward from these types of experiences and just keep learning as we go along. As long as you keep your risk managed in these trades, you're going to live to trade another day. That's the most important thing here. This absolutely blew me out of the water. This blew my mind completely, man. I was in these calls right here. I was in these calls at 1240. 10 minutes later, gosh. So that was my trading day, guys. SPY had a crazy day. So just briefly, I'll do a bit of technical analysis on the SPY. Watch, look at this. So that was the giant pop on the SPY that brought us way up there, broke the highs. And then if we look at the 1 minute time frame, you can see how aggressively it got shorted into. So this was the first pullback. Look at the first pullback. We came up, pulled back right to the high of the day and held it, and then shot up for a second leg higher. So there were strong buyers at this point, or shorts getting squeezed, definitely, okay? So this was the second failure right here at 266.65. We finally started to fail, and you can see, look at how the price did here. Once we failed the first time, we tried to move higher, and look at how weak that move is. This weak move right here of 2-3 candles of just straight failure, unable to even get above 264, straight into another another bear break. That is a huge sign of weakness. And again, that marks our top. That marks our temporary top being set. Same thing happened with Facebook this morning. Okay, and you can see there we consolidated after there. We consolidated near the high of the day, previous high of the day, and then chop, 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 grind lower, try to grind higher. Rallies get sold into, more chop, lower lows, more chops, another big rally that gets sold right into, another big rally that gets sold right into. You see this? You see this kind of price action, guys? This is mind-blowing. Look at this. Look at this. Every single rally on the SPY gets sold into. Rally, sold into. Rally, give it all back. A rally, gave it all back. And that was the end of the day. We closed at the low of the day on the SPY. Really crazy price action, guys. So don't feel bad if you missed the moves, because every day is for improvement. And we need to realize that trading is a high performance sport. And we need to just work on improving ourselves every single day, okay? I had a big loss yesterday on Facebook options because I was trading when I shouldn't have been trading. And I'm going to make a video about that. I think I already made a video, but I'm going to make a better video anyhow. So I'm still alive, okay? I can still trade. I didn't blow up my account. I've already done that in the past about 3 times, by the way. So we are done blowing up accounts here because risk management is in our framework. All right, guys, so I wish you a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow. Keep an eye on the news about the Fed pumping money into the markets. I don't really know much about it, guys. I'm not trading this market based on the headlines. I'm just looking at the price action. And right now, the price action is telling me rallies are aggressively getting sold into. So we'll see if that changes tomorrow. If not, then sell the rallies. Take care. Bye.